Via telephone, the principal of North Middle, Kevin Pittsnogle. Kevin, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're on with Rob and Matt Miller and Jonathan Bodwell. We just had Jackie Long and Melissa Power in from the Board of Education talking about the turnaround at North Middle School, where you were installed as a principal in the last year. Kevin, talk to us about your first day on the job and take us to the present day and the changes that have been made since you've been there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the first day, come in a little overwhelming, just trying to get the lay of the land, figure out what was going on, and just meeting with different people and having conversations. And then kind of just working through the year, we were able to establish some expectations for staff, establish some expectations for the students, and just really just kind of stay true to that all year, and just following through all year on different expectations for everybody and making sure everybody's held to the same standard.
So in regards to the attitude of the kids when you got there and how that changes, talk to me about that. I know you have children. I have children. Matt and Jonathan have children. We know what it's like talking to kids. You have to talk to hundreds of them at a time as opposed to a family full. But give us an idea how that communication went and how attitudes changed.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, we established kind of early on like how we wanted to do things. We did class meetings with every single grade level. So we met with every grade level, kind of set those expectations early on with what we expected as a whole, with our staff, with our students, and then really just kind of enforce that every day with our students. And early on, students obviously they weren't exactly happy with everything that we were trying to do. But through trials and conversations and just day-to-day reinforcement, they eventually were able to kind of understand that everything we're trying to do is for their benefit, and to help them get through the day easier and make things easier on their lives. So ultimately, by the end of the year, I mean, we made a lot of good headway. We still have some ways to go on certain aspects of things. But overall, the kids have been great and have really adapted to what we're trying to do here and develop a nice foundation for culture and for our students and for our staff.
Give us an idea on consequences, because early on, as you said, some of the students weren't necessarily happy with the changes that were being made, but they were changes that were necessary. So how would you enforce changes through consequences?
Yeah, I mean, just holding kids accountable to what our standards are as a county at the school level, and just making sure they understood that, like, if they did something, there was going to be the same consequence across the board. Obviously, we work with kids. There's some gray areas in certain things. But we were able to, throughout the whole year, hold the same accountability for the same actions. So if you came in and you did this and you got suspended for a day, or you got in-school suspension for a day, and then another kid came in, there wasn't any discrepancies within that. Like, there was going to be similar consequences for similar actions. Obviously, there's some variances to that and how that works, but my assistant principals did a great job this year and kind of just holding that consistency throughout the year, which ultimately helped the kids kind of get comfortable with what we're trying to do, our expectations, and then they were able to kind of stay within those boundaries.
How many APs do you have at North Middle?
Right now we have 3 APs. 3.
Is that the amount you are happy with, or do you want more?
Well, you could always use more, but I think we're going to have 2 next year. We're going down to 2, which I think we'll be fine. And we'll have a little bit more focus next year on really establishing the core instruction and really focusing on the instructional side of things now that we've got that foundation for culture and behavior.
Matt Miller.
Kevin, thinking about the APs and our last conversation with Jackie and Melissa, we understand those assistant principals were kind of roving, if you will, in the different wings with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Talk to us about that move and how that has helped.
Yeah, so when I first got the job, Ms. Kleppner had told me she had already decided to move the APs into each grade level, which I thought was a great idea. So we had discussed it. We just kept rolling with that. We have an assistant principal in 6th grade wing, 7th grade wing, 8th grade wing. So that way, anything that happens within those areas, there's immediate contact. as opposed to sending them to the office to wait for somebody to get to them. My assistant principals have been great at just being there, being visible, and sometimes just visibility helps alleviate issues. Being in the hallways during class changes, just having that accessibility to them when teachers need them. So that has been huge for morale and as well as consequences and consistency.
Yeah, think of what the Martinsburg City Police Department did in getting officers on bikes and out in the community and being visible. It seems like that worked in this situation as well at your school.
Yeah, for sure. Visibility is definitely huge, especially for kids. I mean, it's a deterrent as opposed to just trying to be more proactive as opposed to reactive.
We've talked about the students and how they handled those changes. Talk to us about your staff as you're coming in. You're brand new to many of these teachers that have been there for any period of time, and of course you've got new teachers coming in. So how did everyone from that aspect really get on board with what was going on?
Yeah, I thought our staff has been great. They really bought into a lot of the change. There was tons of changes as far as what we expected. Some from the county, some from the state, some from us as a whole. So they bought in immediately, and it showed right away when the kids were coming in. Them being visible, them being in the hallways, them taking ownership of North and really making it about us building a team. So I was excited for that, and I'm excited for next year to be able to continue to build on that.
What was the state's role, if you will, and how were you able to work with them and their ideas?
Yeah, no, the state's role, like we had Miss Massinopel who would come up. She usually stopped up about once a month, and we would discuss things and establish some different things that we needed to focus on kind of throughout the semester. Like obviously the first semester was just establishing those behaviors, those consequences, that culture, the foundation. And then towards the second semester, our meetings with her were more based on instructional aspects of things and what we need to focus on going into next year, which was awesome because the state didn't think that we would be this far ahead in order to be able to have those conversations so early. So it was awesome to be able to kind of start rolling that ball a little earlier and being able to talk about instruction and being able to focus on that for next year. But overall, they've been great to work with. Miss Massinopel has been awesome. She's been a lot of support. Anytime I've needed anything, I could contact her, and she responds immediately. So it's been awesome.
Jonathan Bodwell.
Kevin, what about the parents? Has there been more buy-in from parents than in the past? And have you seen through the course of this year, as you've dealt with kids and had to deal with parents, are you seeing that the parents sort of understanding that, hey, these guys mean business? They actually, my kid's going to get educated. If my kid acts like an idiot, they're not going to put up with it.
I mean, I can't really speak on the past and how parents were, particularly at North. I wasn't here, so I can't really speak on that part. But I can tell you that the parents that I've dealt with this year have been great. I mean, obviously you have the outliers of one or two here and there that don't agree with something, and you try to have conversations, you try to work through it. But the majority of our parents here at North have been great. They've bought in as well as the kids. They understand that if we're calling them about an issue, it's because there's something wrong. We're not calling just to let them know and to have them deal with it. We're dealing with it here. But we also have tried to call home about positive things. We've had some good turnarounds from earlier in the year, and we've tried to have conversations with parents about how their students have made a good turn and are doing way better and just trying to also promote the positive.
You had said that in the year moving forward, the discipline, the culture has sort of, has obviously gotten a lot better. And congratulations, you all have done a phenomenal job. You've put together a great staff and done an amazing job. You said you were looking at the academic side a little bit more for the coming year. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're really starting to look at the data. We were the first middle school in our county this year to use iReady, which is a program that kind of tells us where our kids are academically, and we use it throughout the year for intervention strategies and different things to help promote them. So we were looking at that a little more in depth, seeing where our kids are and what we need to focus on going into next year for our math and our English to kind of focus on those test scores, getting our test scores up. because we're definitely not where we need to be or where we want to be. So next year we're going to make a big push with our students and our staff, and really getting our kids to show what they can do and start pushing them within our core classes. They're being held to the same standard and seeing the core instruction at the standards they need to see.
That, the bottom line is it all revolves around how well they do academically. And if there are a lot of discipline issues, that obviously takes away from it. So not having as many discipline issues will allow more kids to learn. Have you seen a downturn in the amount of kids that you've had to suspend, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year? I mean, are kids really buying in?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're not suspending kids or having to discipline kids nearly as often. My assistant principals have talked about having the ability to get in the classrooms more, being able to focus on instruction a little bit more because they're not dealing with discipline on a all-day basis. As early in the year when we really were trying to set the tone and make sure kids understood, kids have kind of understood where we're at, what we're doing, where we're going. So they've kind of gotten that picture. But as we transition each grade level over the next year or two, I think we'll see bigger growth each year as far as behaviorally, just because it takes time. Kids who have been here for the last couple of years and are currently in 8th grade, it's a little tougher. It's a little tougher when things come in your last year and everything's changing. So we understand that, and we try to work with those kids and make sure they understand that we know that it's not easy. So we've been working with kids all year, and we still we're not here just kicking kids out all day. We're trying to make sure they understand the consequences and the actions, and we try to have the conversation ahead of time that says these are going to be the consequences for your actions. So understand that if you go this route, this is what possibly is going to happen, which helps. Again, just being proactive.
Well, it's great when they start to understand that and they see that the measures that are taken when somebody is misbehaving or not, draconian for no reason. I mean, it's like, if you do this, this is going to happen. And then when they see it happen to a few people, it's similar like in a business. You fire somebody, everybody else works a little harder because they don't want the same thing to happen. And I mean, the greatest thing we can do is create an environment where kids can learn, where the kids who want to learn are not, taken down by the kids who don't want to learn.
Yes,
exactly. What other things do you have coming up in the school? What are some other big changes that you're contemplating making to make it better there academically?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're really going to dive in with Dr. Woods, who just got here with the county, assistant superintendent of instruction. I've had a couple of conversations with him about focusing, just trying to figure out what exactly we need to improve instruction. And we're still kind of in the beginning stages of talking about some of those things and what is going to benefit us here, because we're not trying to just plug holes. We're not trying to just throw people at problems. We're trying to really figure out what the core problems are within our instruction to be able to attack those issues.
Kevin Pittsnogle is our guest. He is the principal at North Middle. The state no longer having oversight of North Middle. That was announced just last week. Kevin, Hunter S. Thompson once said, half of life is just showing up. So, on that quote, I ask, how is attendance at North Middle now versus when you began?
Yeah, it's slightly better. And again, when you're talking about something that's been established for years, a culture and a dynamic of what is allowed to happen, when you come in and try to severely adjust things and change things, it's going to take time. But our attendance and our kids being here has gotten better. We look forward to, again, next year, I think we're going to see incremental changes each year as kids are here longer and really are starting to buy in. It's harder right now for 8th graders to buy in because they know it's their last year. So they're here and they're just like, well, I'm just trying to get through this year. So having those conversations with them early on helped us. And then just kind of establishing early on with 6th and 7th grade, hey, these are going to be expectations every year, and just making sure they fully understand that. That'll help. But kids wanting to be here, understanding that there's not going to be issues, that they can go into class and have the ability to learn and without the distractions. I mean, obviously you're going to have typical middle school issues. But at this point, I would say that's where we're at. We have your typical middle school stuff that you're going to deal with.
Was there a light bulb moment in your past year there, Kevin, where you come in one day and you said, they're getting it?
I don't know that there was any one moment. You could just start to see the transition throughout the year. Throughout the end of the first semester or so, you started to see kids start, okay, this isn't going to happen. We're not going to be able to do this. So overall, I think you could just tell there was a small transition. You still fight things all year. I still have the same conversations I had at the beginning of the year sometimes with some kids, and just that's the mental part of it. Just making sure you stay plugged in and talking to the kids and making sure that you don't stop addressing things, because the moment you stop addressing it is when it gets out of hand again.
Matt Miller.
At the same time, you're talking about the discipline and setting the standards and all of that. You got to still have some fun at school, and you've been able to incorporate some things to do that as well, including Club Day. Our FCA has been able to be one of those clubs, and I know I've enjoyed each time that we've had a chance to be in with the group of students that has been gathering. So take us to some of the fun side. How have you been able to, kind of keep students engaged that way as well?
Yeah, so it's not all doom and gloom. We try to find some positives, and we try to celebrate the positives. We have a new Renaissance program that we started here this year within our school that really helps, and a lot of our high schools have it. So when our kids are going to high school, they've already been in this program, and they do awards. They set up some trips. They set up some fun days. But we also have a Club Day we do once a month, what we'll try to expand on next year and do a little bit more with for after school programming as well. But just trying to get kids involved, buying into the school, buying into different things that they want to be invested in, because obviously the more they're invested into the school, the better they'll do. So we're trying to find things that every kid can be involved in. So we're not just looking to find athletics or to find academics. Like we have a chess club, we have I think a Dungeons and Dragons club. So just different things that we have a variety of different kids that want to be involved in different things.
Did I see a social media post pretty early in the year of a Necktie Tuesday or something that you did?
Yep. We've done a Tie Tuesday. We've had kids involved in that. We've jumped in and jumped out of it some, trying to get kids to understand like what ties are for, how to tie ties, and just having fun with it. So we've done that most of the year and enjoyed that.
Jonathan Bodwell, final question from you.
Let me ask a personal question. Where is your son going to play next year? I want to talk basketball, man. That's important because your son,
Yeah,
I loved watching him in high school. He's so skilled.
Yeah, he's gotten a ton better. It's awesome to see. He went down to Florida last year and played at a school called 212. It was the Prep Academy. But he is going to a place in North Carolina called Lees-McRae. It's a small Division II school. And he's excited to go down there with the coaching staff. They have a really good staff, and they run a really good offense that he kind of fits within. So he's going to have some good options down there.
And how will your let me ask you this. The basketball at North Middle has always been pretty good. Are you excited about? I mean, does that builds? I mean, when my kids used to play middle school ball, they would have that game every year where they'd play during the school day, and it would pack with the students. Are you getting a lot of students out for the games now?
Yeah, I mean it's building. Like we did the day games this year. We had fun with that. We actually worked that in with our Renaissance, so they had to earn the ability to go there. But we had a ton of kids there. Made a great atmosphere for the basketball teams. But we're also trying to use those things as motivators for our kids to understand that those things aren't guaranteed in life. You got to earn them. So go out there and obviously, if you're a cheerleader, if you're on the cross country team, or if you're on the basketball team, which are the three things that we have here, you're representing North and you're representing us. So when we want to make sure they understand, no different than a high school or a college team, that we want the best representation for us wherever you go.
Kevin, you've had several coaches in your lifetime at various levels. Coaching is education. Coaching is teaching. Have you taken from those folks who coached you and those who have taught you and incorporated some of those things on the way up the ladder and indeed in the way you helped to turn around North Middle School?
Oh, for sure. I've taken a lot of the same mentality. It's a lot of what we talk to my staff about with my APs about just being a team. We try to work together. We try to help out. in any given day, you can walk in during our lunchtime and we're helping clean up trash, or and kids are asking us why we're cleaning the trash up. And I'm saying because that's part of our job. Part of our job is to help everybody, to be a team. So just trying to establish that the fact that there's no one person better than another. We're all on the same team working towards the same goals.
Do these kids know who Kevin Pittsnogle is?
I don't think they do. They just know he's gigantic.
Do they know who you are, Kevin?
Some of them have Googled some stuff, and they say they'll tell me they found some clips, and then they'll ask me a couple of questions. But some of them are intimidated still because of my size and stuff like that. But
not a bad thing.
Yeah, setting that tone is still pretty good. We're good with that.
I tell you, I was bummed when I heard you were going to be by phone and not in here because I'm 6'7". I've never not been the tallest person in the studio.
Yeah, I was going to come in. I actually got caught up in some stuff we were dealing with here, so I honestly was supposed to come in, and I apologize.
We got it. Hey, final minute, Dylan Bishop, our producer, has a question for you, too.
Well, it was
okay.
I guess, more of a comment, but being also a substitute teacher within Berkeley County, and a lot of times I was at Musselman while Mr. Pittsnogle was over there as assistant at Musselman, and there was a time or two where, I grew up in Berkeley Springs, was about, 7 years old in 2005. I was like, to a student, I said one time, did you know that my first favorite basketball player was Mr. Pittsnogle? And he was like, what?
Sweet.
Oh, that's great.
Mr. Pittsnogle, yeah. That's respect right there, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, thanks so much. We appreciate your time. Final thought is yours, sir. 30 seconds.
I just appreciate you guys having us on and supporting us. It's great to have community support and to help build culture from the outside in as well.
We appreciate the work that you're doing there, Kevin. Thanks for the time.
And good luck to Quincy down at Lee's McRae, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too.